Stratford Perth Museum, Vera reading number 3. And I'm going to take this and I'm just going to put it over, I'm just going to move this right here. That's not in your way there. And so, oh, it's in your way. Sorry, guys. I'll put it, oh, no, I'll put it right here. Yes, so there will be, sorry. Come on, Dad. It's the age. Anyway, so there will be points, perhaps, if we're feeling it, that I might just ask everyone to be, no pun intended, dead silent, and I'll ask a couple of direct questions. Hopefully, we think we've gotten communication with Vera so far with the stuff we've done, and we'll ask Vera some direct questions, and if you have direct questions you'd like to ask her too, we can do that. So that's basically the gist of what's happening.
Thanks, Jacob.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're entering the community storytelling part of the day. And just to get things started, I'll just read a little story from Vera's second volume of her autobiography, Smiling Through the Tears, Experiences as a Nurse. This is from page 323. It's called A Dream in Forewarning. On August the 3rd, 1940, I dreamed I ascended a glass stairway with a large wind in it. I picked my steps cautiously for fear the glass would break. On reaching the top, I turned to the right to enter a room where a baby lay in a frilly blue bassinet. To my horror, the baby's clothes were soaked in bright red blood. Startled, I let out a cry as I awakened. John said, "If these cases are getting on your nerves, you should discontinue nursing." I told him that I felt this was a warning for me to take special precaution on my next case. 2 days later, I was called to William Coxon's on the 16th of Elmer, where a baby boy was delivered by Dr. Ty. To be on the safe side, I asked Cora if she had any powdered alum, just in case we needed it. On a top shelf in the pantry, I found a round tin containing what I asked for. I awakened at 1:10 a.m., at which time something prompted me to look at the baby's binder. Sure enough, the bright red blood was just oozing through. I took the child to the kitchen table, turned up the wick of the coal oil lamp so I could see better to apply the powdered alum to the bleeding navel. I put a firm piece of cardboard over it and sewed a binder snugly on to keep it in place. All the while, I uttered a prayer under my breath for God to halt the flow of blood. The cord could not be tied closer to the body, and there was no telephone in the house to summon help. I watched the baby as diligently as a mother hen watches a chick. I felt relieved when I saw Dr. Ty come in the next morning, although there was no further sign of hemorrhage. He said he noticed a weak spot in the cord, but did not expect it to rupture. He commended me on my alertness. I am pleased to say that the binder worked. This morning, we had Mr. John Coxon here, who was that baby. He is now almost 85 years old, and he came with his daughter and his wife to tell us a story to us and to talk about his time that he spent with Vera. Of course, she was an important person through his entire life. And so when I asked John, what do you think about all that, the psychic nature and clairvoyance? And he said, yeah, I believe it. I believe we all have it. And it's a matter of how far we want to delve into it. But it's there for us. And he said, it happened to me. I believe it. So anyway, that was just a way to get our conversation started today. Hopefully you will have some stories you would like to share as well. And if anyone has, I have a microphone so that we can make sure that you can hear your questions. So, anyone have a story they'd like to share? Yes, perfect. I'll bring the mic to you. Pardon me. You don't mind just standing. Thank you. Thank you. Do you mind just introducing yourself?
Yeah, Larry Culling. And where my story comes from, we lived in Brantford, had a mill writing business doing feed mills, farm green drying systems. And one of our customers who had a feed mill in Acton had his truck stolen, his feed truck. And he got a hold of Vera to see if she could help him find his truck. And she said, we'll tell you it's in the back of a driving shed, but I cannot tell you where the driving shed is. And later in history, they found the truck and it was in the back of a driving shed.
Wow.
So,
Do you know where it was?
no,
Just in the back of the shed.
yeah. But
That's amazing.
she could not tell them where the driving shed was.
All right.
That's amazing.
So-
Thank you for that. These are exactly the kind of stories that have helped me, and they're helping me shape the play as I go along. And I'm finding that I basically have written a full structure of the play, but the more these stories come out, the more I'm able to lend real credence to the actual stories that are told. So I'm grateful for any and all stories, if you have them. Yes, we'll come right back.
Hi, I had the pleasure of having quite a few sittings with Vera. I also have the pleasure of knowing Vera's friends, relatives that are still alive, and I gave the names to Ron. They have Vera's original sticks, which are incredible. And Alex, who's carrying on the mediumship, as is Doug, years ago was going to be a priest. And now this man is 83. And 3 weeks before he went into the priesthood, he said he couldn't do it because he was gay. So his partner was a police officer from Toronto, and they were looking for a body. So the police officer came to Vera with Alex, and Vera told the police officer that the body was in a well, and that's where it was. Yeah. So the other one is, when I was in my teens, I went, and she told me that I was going to marry a man. His name, she gave me the initials, WRL, and I said, I'm never getting married. She described the ring, and 43 years later, this man is sitting here. Yes, and she was an incredible, the one thing that she used to do when you went in was she used to clear your energy field before you sat down with her. And John, her husband, was quite the guy. As you say, we had to wait in line, so a bunch of us girls all used to get up at 3 in the morning, go sit with our Tim Hortons coffee, stand in line. And there was a woman from California who had come in. So I said, absolutely, you know what, you go ahead. Then there was another woman who butted in front of me. And it was like, I've been waiting here with my friends for hours. She said, I don't care, I want to see her. Well, then John came out, and he, in no uncertain terms, called her down, told her she was the devil, and had to leave the property. And I'm like, listen, I don't want her to deck me. Like, she wants like a reading. She can have a reading. And John said, no, absolutely not. So I wasn't aware, but when I went in, Vera said, I know exactly what happened, and I did not want to read that woman. So, yeah. Anyways, there's lots more stories, but I've given Ron some information of Vera's friends and contacts.
Thank you.
Anyone else have stories they can share with us?
I have a little one.
Yeah, love it. Just tell us.
I grew up in Broadhaven. I was born in Stratford, but I grew up in Broadhaven. And we had a farm, and my dad lost his wallet. And he went to see Vera. And she told him, you'll find it in a box. Of course, she sold him a book, you know. And a couple of days later, it was in the mailbox. So that's my only story of Vera, but that's...
Really
Well, that's a
cool.
good one.
Yes. A couple stories here.
Does anybody remember when Vera's house was moved in Millbank?
Yes.
And you remember when they moved it? And the walls and the floors were full of money. But she didn't have a bank account. Everything was, because my brother-in-law put the foundation down for the new house, where they moved it to. And there's all this money. I forget how much there were, but it was just lots and lots. And I just lived in a little place called Hessen, which was, like Vera was the talk of the town for years and years.
That's amazing.
That's my story.
Yeah.
I'm Bertha Townsend from the Seaforth area and got to see Vera many different times. I'm sorry I didn't bring anything to say thank you. I did take Vera some homemade pickled corn cobs once. They were right from the fields, and my sister-in-law and myself got it there, and we did it right from scratch. And I thought, well, that's special for Vera, I hope. And so that's just a memory that kind of came up there tonight.
Lovely.
And we had a mini bike stolen from our driving shed. It was a May 24 weekend, and fireworks were in Seaforth, and it disappeared from there. And so Vera said, I'm sorry, I think it's gone. And I don't know how many weeks or months after it was that I visited her. But she, and you probably heard this from her, anybody that was to her several times, she would say, but don't leave any stone unturned. So I think she's going to give the message to me today. Actually, she did that with cards, and the person that we suspected, it was right on with numbers and just the whole description of what she said. And that person grew up, like this would be in the 70s when I was there, and yep, got into trouble with the law. Yep, there was some more thievery going on, and I'm thinking that would be what it would be about. She had a lot of sayings which we've heard tonight too, but the devil, yeah, she described an exorcism to me, and I thought, well, I had taken our 3 children, they were pretty young, and I thought, well, I'm not going to get into that with them. That wasn't described to me when they were there. But I didn't know what that was exactly, but since I've read about that, and 100%, yeah, she knows how to deal with the devil.
Thank you for that.
Ron, yes, could I just
Of course
ask
you can.
yours?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna, while people think up some more questions, I just wanna ask hopefully Vera a couple things. So this would be the dead silent time, if you don't mind. To any unseen beings that can hear and see us right now, we don't mean any harm or disrespect. We're just very curious to know if there's things going on that we can't perceive with our limited senses. I'd particularly like to speak with Vera McNichol herself. Vera, there was something that Ron mentioned at the beginning about the fellow who was in the story about the baby with the bleeding and everything. But the question is, he believed that we all have the ability to utilize a kind of a psychic medium ability within ourselves. Is that true, Vera? Do we all have the ability to do the things you did? And if we do all have the ability, what's your advice to us for how to better get ourselves in a place to do that? How would we go about doing that or practice it? Other question, are you and John together in the afterlife? Is he playing checkers with other spirits? And just last one, the lady whose mini bike went missing, do you have her answer for her today? Just one more question, just because I'm always curious. I always like to ask this. I don't think Vera, I don't think we're allowed to know, but I'm going to ask anyway. Can you tell us what happens after you die? That was someone whispering, I think. That wasn't a ghost, right? That's someone. Okay, thank you.
I've got a question.
Oh, okay, yes, if anybody has questions for Vera. Okay, Vera, we have some audience members that have questions straight for you.
Vera, are you visiting with Gibby? He told me all about you. Okay.
Okay, so the question, Vera, is are you visiting with Gibby? Okay. I should preface, or should tell you, obviously, this is being recorded. I go back, I edit it, and put it up with visuals into an episode, and then you guys will all be sent the link to this episode. Okay, anyone else before we move on? Anyone else want to ask Vera a question? Yep. Just why don't you say it really loud, and I'll just hold it here.
Vera, you told Trent Caldwell that he was supposed to receive your cards when you passed. Where are your cards?
Just to reiterate, Vera, that was Frank Caldwell.
Trent.
Trent Caldwell was supposed to get your cards after you passed, and we're wondering, where are the cards? Okay. Anyone else? Yep.
I believe, Vera, that Alex has your cards, and I have seen them and worked with them. Is that correct?
Okay, Vera, the question is, does Alex have your cards? Okay. Anybody else? No?
Great.
Okay, thank you.
That's great.
Subscribe to the channel and find out.
There are also cards in the archives, because I have held them and looked at them there. So you can sign out a box. There are boxes of some of Vera's possessions, and you can actually look at them there, as well as some of her autograph books and things. I'm assuming they were donations that were given to the archives after the auctions, after the things had been sold. So.
Quick question.
Yes.
It's always been curious, where was her house in Millbank? In relation to Anna Mays, we'll say.
Yeah. Well, if you come south from Ananays, over the river and up the hill, you would turn left. And it's now 2 houses in on the left. But it was across the road when Vera had it, before it was moved, isn't that right? Yeah. Is that a good description?
Yep.
And
Yeah,
it said the new house
The new
is,
house.
is blue, is it
Yes.
sort of a color blue?
That's
We went
right.
to go visit it, yeah.
yeah. We actually went to see it because it was moved and then completely renovated. And it's on a beautiful piece of property. It looks like a beautiful house. There was someone, Wanda Lee Coxon, who was here with her dad with the belly button deal. Wanda did a painting of the house. She asked me if I had a picture of Vera's house, and I did, with their helper, Tom, who lived on the farm. Tom, you can see it in some of the pictures, there's Tom and a dog. So I sent her that picture, and she painted it. And she said when she went to bed at night, there were all the straight edges, watercolor, like she always does. And she came down in the morning, and all of the edges of the roof of the house were soft, and it looked like the house was on fire. And indeed, the house had burned. So we don't know if Vera was having a hand in that photograph, but Wanda did that picture of Vera's house. She also did this, which is the picture of Vera's first vision, which she brought to me today, which she had as a child, I think as a 5-year-old child. And so Wanda painted this and brought it for me, which, I tell you, there's been so many little gifts, including all of your stories, that continue to bless this project, so I'm so grateful.
Ron.
Yes?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead,
Yeah,
Jacob.
yeah. No, I just had a flash of a question to ask Vera. Do
Sure.
you mind if I just do one? So I'm a bit of a nerd with this. Okay, let's go dead silent again. Vera, clearly you've made such an impact on so many people's lives. You've helped so many people. I've only gotten to know you through the 2 previous readings and today, and through Ron. But you've helped so many people. Is there anything we can do to help you? Is there anybody in this room that you need to tell something to? Is there any item of yours that you need us to find? If so, what is it and where? Cool. That would be cool if
really cool.
if she was like, yes, go to this place and put. Okay, thank you.
I just want to say that when Jacob was asking that question, one of the things I think that Vera would want us to say is love each other better. So I just wanted that to live in the room for a minute. Because, yeah, we can just love better. And that's a message from today. That's just for me. But I think that in everything that I have read about her, that was the message. She was there for people when they needed her the most. And sometimes it was just being with her that helped someone who was lonely. So, yeah, check in on each other. Yes?
And kind of to piggyback on that, when Mom was sharing, we were trying to figure out how old I was when I went with Mom. And what I remember most, and I'm curious about other kids that went, was the sense of warmth. There wasn't, and I remember even Mom explaining a little bit, but us being there and John shuffling around in the background and things and not, you know, it just felt so warm and comforting there. And I'm thinking I probably was 5, right? So to have that sense of comfort, hopefully other kids had that as well, but it's just something that stuck out that isn't, I'm assuming, a situation that most kids feel comfort in.
Thank you. There were, thank you for that, first of all. There were 2 people here today who were neighbors of Vera. And so they grew up and they were kids who lived across the road. And they always had special access. They could go through the driving shed into the house, and John would always scared the shit out of them first. And once they were scared, then he'd let them go in the house, of course. And so, and they'd always say, one of them said how she was comforted by Vera stopping everything she was doing and just grabbing her hand and just rubbing her hand. And that often the other one said that they would get a cookie or something. There was always something special at Vera's place. So I think that feeling of warmth, sorry you didn't get a cookie.
Maybe I did.
Maybe.
Maybe I just was.
Yeah, but apparently that was lovely. And the great thing was, those two kids who grew up together haven't seen each other for years. And so they were brought together today to be able to talk about that. So these are just the little things that happen, which are great. Yeah, you have something?
I remember as a child, as a kid.
You were there as a child too?
My dad was related to that.
Oh, amazing. It's amazing.
We used to play in the drive shed.
Traxel? No.
Yeah, Traxel.
Oh,
Yeah,
Traxel,
yeah.
okay.
And we used to go, and we'd, at the end of the day, when she was done her readings, we'd go to the living room, which nobody was ever allowed in. And John would play the violin. And he was always a big checker player too, right?
Okay.
Like, there was always a violin that he'd always play for us out.
Amazing.
That was always neat as a
What kind
kid.
of music did he play as?
I forget now, because I was young. I was
Yeah.
about 8, 10 years old. With my brother and we'd play in the driving shed, and we were waiting for her to finish her readings for the day, and then we'd be invited in. And then we'd go into the living room. Very few people got into the living room, as far as I knew.
Yeah.
But it was neat. That's
Well,
how I
that's
remember
amazing. Thanks for that. Thank you. Is it Jane Traxel? And Nancy?
Edward Trucks. Yeah, they're my cousins.
I think your cousins.
They're cousins. Yeah.
They were here last time.
Yeah, I heard that.
And it was really amazing. One of the things that happened was Jane said, do you have all of Vera's books? Because she wrote 5 autobiographies and Reveries of a Pioneer and a number of other books. And I said, well, I do have most of them. I certainly have all of her autobiographies. But I said, I'm having trouble finding one called Little Drops of Water. And she said, well, I was actually talking with Vera, and she told me to give this to you. And it was Little Drops of Water. She had it on the top of her bag. So I will be forever indebted to Vera for the special little gift that she brought my way. So, yeah. May I ask, do you have the gift at all? Jane and Nancy talked about...
No, I've got one of the books that she signed. I've got a couple of books left. I don't know which, from my parents.
Yeah.
The estate.
That's amazing.
I just looked at them up the other day.
That's super
One that was signed still, yeah.
That's really neat. Are you psychic?
What's that?
Are you psychic?
Yeah.
You got a little? Yeah.
Little.
Intuition?
I've been
Yeah.
brought up with it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Okay, very cool. Pass the mic here.
Hi, my name is Ron Kennell. I saw Vera in the early 80s. At the time I was living in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And my house was broken into twice. So on the trip back to Ontario, I went to see Vera. And I was wondering who broke into my house, is it going to happen again? She told me that I knew the people, or the people knew me. And she said that my house would not be broken into again. And my house has never been broken into again, which I'm very thankful for. And one of the things that I do remember, there was a great amount of warmth and peace, like this lady just said. And I do remember she ended with let go and let God, and probably a lot of other people have heard that expression as well.
That's amazing. Did you ever find out who broke into your house?
No, I didn't.
No. Yes. Oh, Vera, who broke into his house?
Do you want to ask? Here, let's ask.
Oh wait,
What? Have you
it's
run
gonna
it?
make it's gonna make a sound. So why don't we just
Okay, it's all right. It's okay if it does. Okay, Vera, I'm not sure if you heard that. What was your name again, sir? Ron. Popular name. We have a guinea pig named Ron, too. Ron was just asking, he had come to see you about asking who had broken into his house. Would you be able to tell us now who it was that broke into Ron's house? Okay, thank you, Vera.
Great, just gonna have a little look-see here. See how we're doing time-wise. We're 45 minutes in.
Right.
So you might feel like you need a break. Is there anyone else who has a burning question before we have a break? Yes.
It's a question for Vera, actually.
Oh, question for Vera.
Sorry.
Okay, yep, sorry.
Don't be
We just
sorry.
have a little technical difficulty. Just give me 1 sec here. No, you're good, buddy. You're good. Don't worry.
While,
You know, we're-
while these guys are figuring it out,
Yeah, okay.
this Jana Dawes gave me this morning. If there's anyone out there who has any recordings of Vera's voice or VHS tapes, we understand there might actually be a couple. Would you let me know? Because I think the museum would love to get any evidence of Vera on this earthly plane digitized. I think it would be remarkable to get to hear her voice for someone like me who never met her or heard her. So just if that ever comes up, somebody's cleaning out their attic or whatever, and they've got a recording, we'd love to know about that. Ready?
Okay, yes, thank you. So who was it that had a question? Yep. Okay.
When you visited my father before he passed away, what did you say? And is he with you now?
What's your name?
Nicole,
When you visited Nicole's father,
before he died. What did she say to him? And is he with her now?
What did you say to him, and is he with you now? Okay,
Thank you,
great.
Vera.
Yes, thank you, Vera.
Well, I think at this point then, we'll take 15 minutes or so, mill about. I'm happy to chat if anyone has anything you'd like to talk about. Otherwise, enjoy the break, and we'll come back and we'll have another little discussion and read part of the play. Thank you.